Good morning, and thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. I want to take a quick second to just thank Angela and the team with Midwest Speakers Bureau for putting this together, and just thank you to all of you for being here as well. Today, I'm going to talk about, as you heard, championship leadership. Over the past few years, I've had the opportunity to record over 200 podcasts. I run a 24-hour physical straight-through leadership experience, as well as a coaching and training business on championship leadership. So what is championship leadership? Write this down. Championship leaders, they create certainty in uncertain times. And I don't see anybody writing this down. Write it down. Here we go. Championship leaders, they create certainty in uncertain times. And I think it's fair to say that we're in some uncertain times today. Yes? Yeah. Just the fact that there are more of you here virtually than there are here today live in person is a testament to that. So when our worlds are shaken up, when times are crazy as they are right now, when you don't really know the next steps to take, in times of great uncertainty, great leaders emerge to create certainty that people need. And so, there's some times in my life when I've been on the path that I've been on, and it doesn't always make sense to me in the moment why I'm on that path. But then later on in life, it usually always comes together to make perfect sense. And, as I look back, I've always gravitated towards leadership positions, whether it was in high school, as a captain of my football and basketball and baseball teams, whether it was as an officer in the United States Army, or going on to play college football. As far as being a championship leader inside of our life, there's these times, there's a time to be a championship leader when times are uncertain, and I've always found myself in those leadership positions throughout my life. In 2005, I can remember this day very clearly. I was a new insurance agent, and I had received a phone call that would change my life forever. On the other end of that line, I was sitting at my desk. I had the phone book in front of me, and I was literally going through it from A to Z, calling people to ask them if I could help them with their insurance. And on the other end of that line was a fellow platoon leader of mine. And she started to read me my orders. I had orders to be deployed to Kuwait to go and lead 42 men that I had never met in my life before up until that point. I was being attached to a unit that had an empty slot for a platoon leader. And I was going to fill that. And we were getting ready. 3 months later was my first day of deployment. I was going to go, and for the very first time, step in front of these 42 men, very uncertain times, getting ready to leave my family, my home, my career, to go thousands of miles across the world to serve my country overseas. And I knew in that moment, when I'm stepping in front of these 42 men for the very first time, it was very uncertain for all of us. And I had one opportunity to make a powerful first impression, to bring certainty to the conversation. And so as we fast forwarded 15 months from that day, I was on a plane. I was headed back home. And I'm very proud to say, one of the proudest moments inside of my life, the 42 men in my platoon were also on that flight as well, heading safely home to their families as well. And so as I got back home, I started to build an amazing family with my wife. We have 3 amazing kids. My oldest is 12. Her name is Nina. My middle child is Lila. She's 10. And my youngest son, 8, soon to be 8 here in just a few days. I got back into the insurance business. About 4 years after deployment, I started an independent insurance agency that I built for over 8 years. Very successful. I got into real estate investing. I still invest in real estate to this day. And it was through this moment that I knew that I was called to do something different. My life, from the outside looking in, It was amazing. It was great. But inside, deep inside, I was miserable. I had this calling to go and do something else, to do what I'm doing right here, right now, today with you, which is to be a coach, a leader, and a speaker. I took all of the experiences that I've had along the way in the journey, and I created what I call the 3 traits to championship leadership, and I want to share those with you here today. The first trait in championship leadership, and again, please write these down. The first trait of championship leadership is to prepare every single day. Again, I found myself in that miserable moment. I know that I was called to go and do something different, and I found myself out of shape and overweight. And so I knew that if I was going to go and I was going to lead others, that I had to first lead myself. And so I started preparing myself physically, getting active, taking care of my health again, and that led me to this event called Seal Fit Kokoro. And Seal Fit Kokoro, it's a 52-hour straight-through physical experience modeled after U.S. Navy SEAL Hell Week. It was led by current, active duty, and retired Navy SEALs. It was by far the most challenging thing that I had ever done up until that point. And I knew that if I had any chance of being successful, I was going to have to lose at least 45 pounds. I was going to have to get into the best shape of my life. And I was going to have to prepare every single day over the 6 months to do so. And so we come to the event. I'd done the work. I had done the preparation. I lost the weight. I was in the best shape of my life. And I'm proud to say that I was one of the 9 out of 28 men that showed up for that event that made it through, that finished. All because of the preparation that I put in leading into that event, which leads us into my second trait on championship leadership. And again, write this down, is to have a clear outcome. I had a very clear outcome when it came to Kokoro. It was very clear. My sights were set. I knew what I needed to do and how to prepare. And that's the same thing that I do with my clients. I have them identify a clear outcome for them. I have them pick a physical event, an event that we call an event of a lifetime. It could be a 5K, it could be a marathon, a mud run. The event really doesn't matter as long as it's very clear and big and exciting to them, something that if they hit it in their preparation, it will move their world. They say, without vision, the people will perish. And this event of a lifetime for my clients gives them that clear outcome that they can go hit in this vision to be successful inside of their life. So with the outcome set, this brings us into the third trait of championship leadership. And again, third and final trait, please write this down, is to identify the cost and consequences. The third trait in championship leadership inspires others and motivates others into action by identifying the costs and consequences if they don't hit their outcome. If the outcome is the what, the costs and consequences are the why that drives it all. For me, in Kokoro, my why, my costs and consequences were very real to me if I didn't hit my outcome. It was that if I'm not the example for my children, if I don't be the example for my kids and show them not what it's just like to set an outcome, but to prepare and be successful, then I know that somebody else will. And that's the price that I'm just not willing to pay. The thought of someone else being the example for my kids other than me, that price is way too steep. And so in this conversation around cost and consequences, especially in business, many will ask a question, what's the ROI? What's the return on investment if I hit the outcome? And I ask and challenge my clients to ask a very different question. What is the COI, the cost of inaction, if you don't hit the outcome, if you don't do the work required to prepare yourself to be successful? And so as I wrap this up and I start to conclude about the 3 traits of championship leadership, I want to take you back to 2017. Again, I'll take you back. I was miserable. I knew that I had a calling inside me to go and to be something different, to be something greater, to make an impact. And I knew it was time to sell my insurance brokerage. And so as I'm doing this, it's bringing great uncertainty to those that are closest to me, especially my wife. at a lifestyle and a business that was providing us very well financially. And there was a lot of uncertainty and wait a second, you're going to do what? You're going to sell this and you're going to go create this leadership company? But I was very certain. I was extremely certain because I knew that I had prepared for this moment. I had prepared to do this my entire life. That the outcome was very clear to me. The path and the plan to make it happen was very clear to me. I identified the cost and consequences. I had sold my plan B. I didn't have any other choice but to make this happen, to make it successful. And so that's what I did over the past 3 years. I sold the business. I started a leadership coaching and training business with my partner. We generated multiple seven figures over the past 3 years, all by adopting and implementing the 3 traits of championship leadership. So today you're going to hear from many of my other brothers and sisters inside of the Midwest Speakers team. They're going to have great insights, great ideas for all of you, and we all know that it takes one big idea to significantly impact a person's life. And the one big idea that your participants, your audiences will be able to take from me, whether it's live in person like we are today, or whether it's virtually inside of my studio just up the road outside of Rochester, Minnesota, is that championship leaders create certainty in uncertain times. And so I think you probably get a sense from my style. I'm very down to earth, kind of no nonsense. I can have fun, but I'm going to bring pragmatic steps to your participants, to your audiences, that they can implement when it's time for them to be called upon to be a leader. When it's time for them to implement, to become, and create certainty as championship leaders to their families, to their businesses, and to their communities. I want to thank you so much for the time today and for you being here. I look forward to meeting you. We'll be here all day, of course, and love to connect and find out more about your companies and events. Have a fantastic day.